What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back to my unit review series for Fire Emblem Heroes, and this time I'm going to be taking a look at Petrine. I know I'm a few days late, but I'm really excited to cover her, so let us begin.
Curse whatever gods you hold!
Petrine is a Lance Cavalier with pretty good offensive stat spread of 35 attack and 37 speed, and she even has workable bulk with 42 HP, 30 defense, and 24 resistance. Lance Cavaliers are pretty abundant in this game, but Petrine definitely stands out because of her BST and her preferred weapon. Her BST is 168, and just for a reminder, she has got the same BST as a Gen 1 armor unit FE, and that's just to show you how far we have come when it comes to BST in this game. Her preferred weapon is Flame Lance, which is a 16 might weapon effective on beast units, and this also gives her +3 speed. So on top of having pretty good speed, she gets even more speed out of this lance, and the additional effect of this lance is that when she's above half health, she can calculate damage using foe's resistance and also inflicts -5 speed and resistance debuff on the foe. So a common misconception is that this is adaptive damage, which it is not. She's simply going to be targeting resistance of the foe, similar to how Hell can do that. And she inflicts in-combat debuffs, which can stack up with lull skills, and it can also stack up with visible debuffs, of course. So this allows Petrine to be really fast, which is definitely welcome in a metagame where speed creep is going really fast, and she can also get more damage output out of this weapon, which is definitely pretty amazing. Targeting foes' resistance can both be a pro and a con. Against units like Dimitri, all of the repel, close call, damage reduction sword units who have higher defense than resistance, Petrine is going to be able to do amazing damage output against them, and this can definitely suck if she's going to be facing mages or just mage tanks who have a lot of resistance. But on average in this game, units are going to be having lower resistance than they're going to be having defense, so this can definitely give pretty unique aspect to Petrine's gameplay. As for her base kit, she does come with attack speed push 3, which is locked to 5-star. So this could definitely be useful if you're trying to inherit attack speed push 4 and additional skill from a fodder unit like Bernadetta or Brave Lysithea, stuff like that. So that can definitely allow you to inherit multiple skills at the same time. She also has Threaten Attack Defense 2, which is a bit odd with her weapon. This is basically the tier 3 version of this skill released now, so definitely a pretty odd skill, and Threaten skills aren't really all that good. She can be compared to Ferdinand, and she comes with 6 more BST than Ferdinand because Petrine is a Gen 5 cavalry unit. So she completely power creeps Ferdinand just from her base stats alone. She's got better offenses and pretty much the same bulk. But Petrine does have a preferred weapon which does allow her to stand out and get even faster, which Ferdinand does not have access to. So that's a big F for our boy Ferdinand von Aegir. And when she's compared to premium Lance Cavaliers, she still does really well. Brave Eliwood does have beast effectiveness on his Lance as well, and he does have dragon effectiveness, which could be much better, but honestly Petrine's weapon can be active in both phases with its effect, whereas Brave Eliwood's effect is only active in the player phase. Petrine can get faster than both Brave Eliwood and Sirius. Sirius does have a -1 special cooldown weapon, which can allow him to be a better Gale Force unit, but in general Petrine can still stand up to these premium 5-star logged Lance Cavaliers. Brave Eliwood is always going to be in due for a weapon refine next year, so this might change if you've watched this in future, but right now Petrine appears to be a pretty amazing Lance Cavalier when she's compared to her competition. So Petrine overall is going to be really fast. It's just that she's not going to be as effective as a Gale Force unit compared to other Lance Cavaliers who have -1 special cooldown in their preferred weapon. But in a way she trades that off for targeting resistance of the foe, and this can definitely allow for her to be much more unique. Petrine does have a super boon in resistance, which could be useful I guess if you're running a distant counter enemy phase build, which is usually going to be run on very high investment, so that could be something. But overall, attack and speed are going to be the boons that most people are going to be picking. So overall, Petrine appears to be a really fantastic free-to-play unit with Gen 5 BST and also a pretty unique preferred weapon. Now let's take a look at some of the reasons why you may or may not want to invest into her with your valuable Heroic Grails. So Petrine is going to be requiring 2,200 Grails to +10 merch, and if you wait like 6-7 months, then she's going to be getting a rerun, and the Grail cost is going to be reduced significantly. So being a Grand Hero Battle unit is always going to be amazing for +10 merging. And she does have pretty good offenses and a really good preferred weapon, which is going to be making her unique. And targeting resistance is going to be really nice, as I said, against units like Dimitri, all of the repel, close call, tank, sword units, and also Legendary Crom, of course, who is going to be pretty common. And Gen 5 BST means that she can actually hit 170 BST after the +1 merge, so this actually makes her viable in Arena, which is amazing. And this is not going to be as good for you if you're trying to stay in tier 21, but if you're someone who just stays in tier 19.5 or 20.5, this could still be pretty decent for you, because you're going to be having that mobility, you're going to be having the wrist targeting lance that she has got, so this can allow you to get rid of a lot of threats like Legendary Crom and those other tanks which I mentioned before, so this could be pretty amazing. Beast effectiveness may prove to be useful if generic beast enemies are going to be a thing in future, and having a free-to-play unit with beast effectiveness weapon is going to be really good. And in general, taking care of a lot of the bulky beast units is going to be pretty nice in something like Arena Assault with Petrine. Now, because of her preferred weapons HP condition, she does have anti-synergy with some of the skills that might be run on budget, so you have to be careful on what you run on her Sortie, especially so that she doesn't get pushed outside of her preferred lance's range. And targeting resistance means that a lot of the bulky mages and higher resistance units are easily going to be able to tank Petrine, which could be detrimental to her usability in Ether Raids, which is mainly a place where a lot of mages are used. And in the higher tiers, it's usually going to be a lot of bulky mages, which are going to be proving to be pretty annoying for Petrine in general. While she does score 170 BST, I wouldn't recommend it completely, because it's not future proof and not ideal right now to go for a 170 BST arena unit, because score creep is moving incredibly fast, so it is really tough to stay in tier 21, and it might get tough to even enter in tier 21. So if you're someone who cares about that, then Petrine is not going to be the ideal candidate.
You anger me, you know that?
For the budget builds, you could always go with Renewal as her slot B skill, because she needs to be above 50% health to have the condition of her lance active, so this is a no-brainer, and you could always run Sparrow. Now, as for her special, she has two budget options. Either you go with Bonfire, that utilizes her defense, or you could go with Glimmer. The reason why I wouldn't recommend Moonbow is because she targets resistance, and as I said, on average, units are going to be having higher defense than resistance, and you're going to be reducing their resistance with Flame Lance, so Moonbow isn't the most ideal, which works off of foe's resistance when you're going to be reducing that, so Glimmer could be useful in that scenario. And you could always use her in Arena Assault as a pretty fantastic utility unit, because she could run Triangle Adept, and against all of these sword units who have low resistance and run damage reduction skills, she can prove to be pretty useful even on merge against them, and Triangle Adept is still an amazing skill for Arena Assault. Now, if you want to use her in player phase, then you could run Desperation with Deathblow in slot A. As I said, she does have anti-synergy with some of the skills because of Flame Lance, so I wouldn't really recommend Fury on slot A for budget, because she's going to be constantly taking the chip damage. If Petrine wants to hunt down Naysala, then she can have access to Sparrow 2 in slot A, and also take Ferdinand's Rouse Speed defense for a budget build, and she can just have doubled Sparrow. If you want to invest heavily into her, then of course going with a tier 4 skill like Sparrow 3 is going to be extremely good, and a lot skill is going to be extremely good for Petrine. Lot attack speed in particular is going to be really good, because it could stack up with Flame Lance to give her -8 speed debuff on the foe during the combat, and Petrine doesn't really have any kind of hidden bulk from her weapon, so Lull attack is going to be helping her in that department. Attack speed push 4 could also be used, but keep in mind the chip damage is going to be there, so you could run Mystic Boost to offset that damage and to just make sure that she's healthy, so that could be done on a high investment build. And as for the boon, as I said, you could go with Speed Boon or Attack Boon. Speed Boon is going to be helping you future-proof Petrine in a way, because we are getting crazy fast units, but on the other hand, she definitely appreciates a bit more of an attack, so it's definitely going to be up to the preference and where you're going to be using her more. You could also just fodder off your Brave Lysithea if you do have extra copies of her to Petrine, because she already comes with Attack Speed Push 3, so this allows her to inherit Lull Speed Resistance and Attack Speed Push 4 at the same time. Now, Lull Speed Resistance is an interesting option because she can target resistance, so this is going to be helping you reduce that even more. And you could also run a solo build with Attack Defense Solo and Speed Rest Solo, and you could use this kind of build to increase her bulk, because she's going to be incredibly fast, and giving her more defense and resistance with the solo skills is going to be pretty good. You could also run her as a Gale Force unit. As I said, she's not really as ideal as some of the other Lance Cavaliers who have -1 special cooldown in their weapon, but you could artificially create that by having Heavy Blade 4 in Sortie and having Quick and Pulse, and with a bit of a support from teammates, she can have pretty decent Gale Force capabilities with a lull skill combined. Now, her lull skill is definitely going to be up to the debate. In my opinion, lull attack speed is by far her best lull skill. Lull speed resistance and lull attack resistance are also options, but in my opinion, when she's not going to be in the range of Flame Lance, it's going to be completely useless. And if you are going to be investing heavily into her, we are getting some really nice inheritable lances. And if you use a different weapon, then lull res skill is not going to be useful at all to you. So lull attack speed seems like the better option personally to me. And you could also use her in Arena, as I said, because she does hit 170 BST. So you could just use her with distant counter, and she can actually be pretty amazing there with dealing with stuff like Legendary Crom and a lot of the fast threats, because she can actually get really fast herself. And you could also run Defense Res Ruse with Ruptured Sky and Renewal Seal for longevity. So those options are possible. And if you want to use her in Ether Raids, then Light Season is definitely going to be the go-to, because she's not going to be facing Thracier there. And as I said, she can have trouble against many of the threats there because they might have high resistance. So Petrine might not do most amount of damage against them, but she could still be used there with Brave Lucina support by just spamming Noontime. This also allows her to have better longevity and also maintain the condition of her Flame Lance. She could also be used in Ether Raid's defense. While she's not going to be any kind of Eliwood, she can still prove to be pretty useful because she targets resistance. And this could be useful in Anima defense teams because Astra Mythics don't really give resistance yet. So you don't really have any kind of way of buffing up resistance of your tank, and usually tanks are going to be having lower resistance than compared to the Light Season where everyone and their mom has got air who provides resistance. So she could be used in Anima seasons, and this can allow her to be pretty decently bulky too because she can get buffs from Mirabilis and Thracier, and ARD attack speed is going to be absolutely insane to boost up her offenses. And she can run a lull skill and panic smoke to be really annoying and basically work as a Gale Force unit or even as a Gale Force rally trap. So that is going to be Petrine, definitely a pretty interesting unit, and I'm definitely really happy with her inclusion and how unique her Flame Lance is going to make her. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review even though I'm a bit late on it. Make sure to share this video with your friends, and I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support, and if you enjoyed, then please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as your defense stat when against Petrine. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.